Okay, a little bit later in the episode, I'm going to tell you more about the hormone fixer because I know you're dying to know. This little bad boy supplement that I created, if I do say so myself, is amazing at so many things, so many benefits. So it raises your natural testosterone, ladies, that GSD hormone. It helps with weight loss. It helps improve insulin sensitivity. It helps with anti-aging. It increases your own growth hormone, the anti-aging hormone that helps with the wrinkles and the stamina, energy, focus, brain. It also helps with your mood and lowers your response to stress. So you're just going to have to wait a little bit more. We'll tell you more about it. The hormone fixer. So this is going to be a game changer for you. And you can probably hear the excitement in my voice. The latest introduction, the latest member of the family to the fixer line is Metabolism Fixer. And this, oh my God, I formulated this just for all my people out there that need to lose weight, that need help in the weight loss department, that can't lose weight no matter what they do, that feel like they have a slow metabolism, and that might be thinking of trying all those peptides out there, you know, the Beverly Hills soccer mom drug of choice for weight loss peptides. Or even if you're on them already and you're like, man, these are really expensive and I'm still not losing weight, add in Metabolism Fixer. Here's what I did. I took the power of T2, which increases your basal metabolic rate while you are sitting there watching Netflix. You're burning fat while you're watching Netflix. I combined it with a very unique patented ingredient called Suppressa. Suppressa has multiple clinical trials backing its efficacy in reducing your appetite, decreasing snacking, and providing way more control over your food intake. It is amazing. We also see improved emotional well-being, just decreased food cravings all around, reduced hunger, and weight management. Add on top of that, we have green tea extract, we have purple forest purple tea extract, both of which affect the metabolism in a very positive way without the jitters of normal fat burning supplements out there from the 1980s and 90s, right? The ones that made you feel like you're having a heart attack. You will not have that in any of my supplements, Thyroid Fixer or Metabolism Fixer. But Metabolism Fixer, ooh, yeah, we kicked it up a notch. It is in powder form, so you can drink it through your day. It's going to flavor your water. We got orange crush and refreshing citrus. I love them both. It is going to keep you under control all day long. So you throw a couple scoops in your water bottle in the morning, throw a scoop or two in your water bottle throughout the day. You will have fat burning and appetite control the entire day for what? An eighth of a price of the peptides? Oh my God, you can't go wrong. So grab some Metabolism Fixer today. Please let me know how you do on it. I am super excited for you. Super excited. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I do have another very special guest / friend of mine, Dr. Anna Cabeca, and we are going to be diving into what causes that weight loss plateau, especially if you're in menopause. Now, even if you're not in menopause, please listen up because Dr. Anna has a ton of great information for you. But I know that weight loss plateaus are frustrating, beyond frustrating for many of you. And especially if you're going into menopause, we've kind of almost been focusing a lot on female hormones and menopause this month, just because that's been the main topic. And I know many of you going into menopause or in menopause right now, even post-menopausal, you're suffering and you're struggling and you're not getting the answers, especially from your doctor who's telling you, you know what, you just got to deal with it. Weight gain's just part of it. You're just getting older. And we know, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I hate that. We don't accept normal. We don't accept you're just getting older. We're going to talk about that today. So Miss Anna Cabeca, DO, OBGYN, FACOG, is a triple board certified and a fellow of gynecology and obstetrics, integrative medicine and anti-aging and regenerative medicine. She does it all. She does it all. She has special certifications in functional medicine, yay, sexual health, and bioidentical hormone replacement therapy that we talk about all the time on here because that's the only way to go. You got to stay away from the synthetics, do the bioidentical. For the past 20 years, she's served 10,000 plus women in her private practice and millions more through her books, online videos, and articles. When her own health took a troubling turn during menopause, she sought out the wisdom of healers around the world. She learned that modern medicine and time-tested natural remedies are not at odds. Working together, they create indisputable results and true well-being. Using delicious healing foods and simple lifestyle changes, Dr. Anna reclaimed her health and life. Fueled by her belief that every woman deserves to be empowered and in control of their health and life, she developed the Keto-Green lifestyle, which has helped thousands of women opt out of menopause misery and experience a joyful transition to the next stage of their lives. With her methods, you too can breeze through menopause into your second spring, feeling the best you ever have. And all of that just goes right in line with what we say on this podcast, that you can find out what is going to work for you and heal yourself and get your life back. So, Dr. Anna, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to have you on today.
My pleasure. It's great to be here with you, Amie. Thank you for having me.
And I love that we share such similar thought processes. I completely agree that we don't discount Western medicine. I mean, you were in the conventional medicine system for years, so we don't discount it. There's a time and place. But I think the blending of conventional medicine when necessary and true, functional medicine and natural remedies, that's the best way to go. That's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. And I always say, we're so trained and so focused on treating the immediate problem when we train in tertiary care centers too. We're looking at, okay, this is the life-saving surgery you need. We've got to triage this and solve this problem. There's very little focus of prevention, except in obstetrics. I will say that where I really gained my holistic background, besides my heritage, is from in obstetrics, working with a maternal fetal medicine specialist, Dr. Rayner out of Emory University. And she would say, look at this pregnant woman on her first visit. What is she at risk for developing in her pregnancy? And that really started me thinking about, okay, definitely diabetes, preeclampsia. Let's look at some of these other issues, preterm labor. And you want to think ahead because the sooner you interact, right, and everything you can do to prevent, the healthier that pregnancy outcome is. And the kind of like just stop there. The rest of gynecology was, let's treat the problem at hand here. And often when it comes to that, especially in gynecology, the uterus is the innocent bystander of underlying hormone imbalance and inflammation. So when we get to the underlying issues that cause that hormone imbalance to begin with, then all those other symptoms go away. And that's the special art of medicine that I enjoy practicing.
I love that. It is an art though, too. I think it's also an art to listen to the individual. And if she's speaking and saying, these are my symptoms, to really listen to that and not dismiss it as like, well, your labs are normal, so you're good. So that's exactly what you do.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell us more about we said a little bit in the intro, but what was your journey like? Because here you are, a conventionally trained DO, and now you're having issues of your own. So what did that look like?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why I say God's cruel trick on me. If you want me to learn something, I have to experience it firsthand myself. And it does put us in a better place to help other people from a very humble position. And so for me, it was early having, always struggling with my weight, being a first generation American, then, very Middle Eastern, Mediterranean background. So I have warrior genes, in other words, I can probably live in the Sahara for 6 months without food and water and still be fine. However, it worked for me to be very, struggling with my weight all my life from being a little girl. I remember that. And so that was that, always looking and very interested, science-minded in women's health. But then at 39, I was diagnosed with early menopause and irreversible infertility. It, determined by my reproductive endocrinologist, very esteemed colleague of mine, that my only option was egg donation. And it was so frustrating. That was when my doctor's bag was empty. And literally, Amie, it took me on a journey around the world looking for answers. And I did not discriminate. As you said, we don't discriminate on healing and what is working for you at this point in your life right now, as we sit with your mindset, with your environment, with your, your nature, what is happening with you right now, your physical conditioning, all of these things have to be taken into account. There's no recipe book, so to speak, standard medical journal that can help you with that. And so this is, that was it for me. And it took me on a journey to reverse that early menopause, naturally conceiving a beautiful baby girl and delivering her when I was 41 years old. And so now I'm 55 with a 13-year-old, soon to be 14. And that's a whole nother series of life that I'll eventually write about too.
Mm-hmm.
Through her teenage years. But menopause and puberty at the same time in the same house is always fun.
Oh yeah. Fun for your husband too. Wow.
Hey, I'm a single mom taking care of my girls. So
Oh, well, then you just have a lot of estrogen in your house altogether. Yeah.
Yes. Right? Because we talk about testing in the hormones, right? And I know you talk about this. Testing is primitive. And I really want people to understand that I do believe in testing every body fluid you have because it tells you one thing or another.
Yep.
But hormones are energetic molecules. There's an energy to hormones that you feel, and that is another way to test them. So I think until we can really test hormones from an energetic perspective, we're going to be at a, incomplete. And that's where, again, the art of medicine comes in. So true.
Total art. So let's talk about the topic of the day of those weight loss plateaus, because did you experience that as well when you were dealing with your own health?
Oh my gosh. So, one of the things I've been, again, struggling with weight my entire life, one time over 240 pounds and, weight loss resistant. And at that time, a busy OBGYN running a solo practice, add that stress factor in, never was about calories in, calories out, never. And so, what's fascinating to me is that the whole plateaus come in the perimenopause. And in my second book, my first book is called The Hormone Fix. And I always say it takes more than hormones to fix your hormones. Mm-hmm. That is foundational reading. And then my second book, Keto-Green 16, I talk about the 13 weight control hormones that affect your physiology. And even when you're doing this, like you're doing what works and what works stops working, that's a whole nother process. You've got to triage that. And we can get into plateaus because just like with working out, we have to sometimes change things up. We have to support our microbiome by creating a resilient microbiome, and diversity matters in that case. So hormonal shifts are come hand in hand with weight loss plateaus. And also for me, it was a bump in weight when I was 48 going through second menopause, essentially, at that time of perimenopause, symptomatic. I felt like 20 pounds overnight without doing anything different. And that took me in this whole Keto-Green journey, because you and I think alike when it comes to food and nutrition and fasting and, the importance of the combination. So it took me on this Keto-Green journey, as I call it. And that helped me lose the weight, but also gain mental clarity and hormonal balance that was outside of my bioidentical hormones. Because there's many pieces to this that can create the plateau. So food sensitivities are one. A metabolic decline and shift because of insulin resistance, leptin resistance. Those are two big hormones that are contributing, but add in perimenopausal stress and a healthy dose of high cortisol, and hence add in a pandemic.
Yeah.
And there's a metabolic, disaster waiting to happen when you enter those things. And so in my new book, which it's called MenuPause. So if you're in menopause or perimenopause, it's time for MenuPause. It pauses different food, kind of platforms. There's different food platforms to take into account to shift things, shake things up a little bit, hence to break through a weight loss plateau. Viral, but that is that is so critical in the perimenopause too.
So critical. And you and I say the same things over and over. I mean, just without even knowing we're saying the same things, we say the same things. I always say both and. So just like you said, we can look at your hormones all day long. We can look at your thyroid. But if you're over here eating like garbage and we're trying to optimize hormones and thyroid, it's not going to work because what you're putting in your body is going to throw off everything. Like you said, it could be causing or exacerbating the already existing insulin resistance, could be disrupting your microbiome. We have to focus on the food. We can't forget about the food because that's such a key component in overall health.
It is. It is essential. How we nourish our body is also how we nourish ourselves. It's how we're looking at how do we take care of ourselves. And for eating out of, processed, prepared by others, I hate to say, because I do love eating out.
Right.
A lot here in Dallas, now that I'm in this great city with amazing restaurants, eat out a lot. But preparing your own food, you know exactly what you put in it. And there's an art to that too. It's like food prepared with love for those you love. And then if it's adding in some self-love, like appreciating that this is going to nourish you, adds that extra special sauce, so to speak.
Oh, I love that. I so agree.
And I'm such a foodie, Amie. Like we could definitely hang out and have a great girls' lunch together. And I might have a glass of wine, however.
Same, right? But because you and I have practiced keto, I mean, we're going to be speaking at KetoCon together. We can have lunch then. Because we've practiced that way of eating for so long, our bodies can handle the glass of wine without freaking out.
Yes.
Exactly.
And it is that one thing too, because in menopause and perimenopause, and that I love your episode with Pam on menopause and, waist gain.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about that whole point of alcohol, right? Because that is something, we're told a glass of wine a day is good for us. And, and I definitely, and drinking like dry wine or low sugar wines, I'm telling you, half bottle through of anything and you're no longer in ketosis.
No, you're not. Even if it is the low sugar, organic, dry fire, you're not in ketosis anymore.
It's so true. So I think that's it was great to make that point really hard because it does take you another look. Like, when do you feel your best? What's interrupting with how you're feeling, not just today, but tomorrow? Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And that's true with food sensitivities and how that comes into play with your metabolism. Mm-hmm. And how we perceive the second spring of our lives, right? The second half, or, however we look at that, the rest of our lives, how do we want that to look?
Oh, that's beautiful. And I think you have to have that outlook of not giving up and not throwing in the towel just because you crest 40 or 45 or 50 or whenever your age is that you enter menopause. I mean, for you, it was early. So you can't say, okay, well, I'm 39. I'm just going to feel like garbage the rest of my life. Okay. No, this can be a beautiful part of your life where actually you have more wisdom on different aspects of life. And you can enter this second spring. It can be better than the first half.
It absolutely can. I think when we lose the fog of reproductive level hormones,
right,
there is something to that. There's a certain density around, raising kids and being in that fog that I have experienced. Although I'm still raising kids and I'm soon to be to have a grandbaby, so in the house too. So I'm looking forward to that. So, when you're raising, there's another energy to that. And being in this, the wise woman, the woman warrior mode, to be that, to be at the best functioning years of your life, to enable that clarity have the history that we have to look back on, to look back and see what serves us and what doesn't serve us. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of experience that we've gained that we really need to look at and we've learned from. So as we move into this half and have this higher level of clarity, if we're doing it right? The whole, combination, alkalinity, high fiber, healthy fats, good quality protein, intermittent fasting, no more snacking, movement activities to improve your quality of life, all of these things with gratitude journaling, positive attitude and perspective makes a whole difference on how we're going to live out the rest of our life and not limiting ourselves. So Amie, something came up in one of my conversations the other day, and I was thinking about, when I found out that I was going to be a grandma, and I don't know if anyone listening can relate to this, or when you found out someone your love is becoming a mother, but So finding out that my 25-year-old daughter was pregnant, I had this new title to add to my long list of titles, right? Is grandmother, or, I prefer to be Gigi, a different name than grandmother. So, but how that affected me, because there was that, I had 15-pound weight gain, and it was like, just, wait, am I thinking about what a grandmother body is supposed to look like? Wait, what's my perspective on now as I'm going to be a grandma? What is that? What am I thinking about myself in this way? What's the image I have of nice, sweet, amazing grandmas? And so I had to shift that in my head, and I'm looking at, okay, let me look back at some, really, how do I want to look, feel, and be part of this grandbaby's life? And what does she need to look like? How does she need to feel? How clear does her mind have to be that kind of grandmother, or third generation mom?
Yep. So you have a badass warrior woman grandma picture in your mind, don't you? Right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's different. Like the menopausal woman, how did that look? Like if someone in perimenopause and is really struggling, how did the people that you saw when you were a child, how did they do in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s? What did they look like? Are you holding on to that image, or is there a healthy image in there? Is there unhealthy or a healthy image that you're holding on to that you can mirror more and create your own, even better version? And I think that's something that I hadn't really put together until this whole grandma title came on board.
Well, that's really good. I'm glad you brought that up, because I think we forget that back in our mothers' and grandmothers' time, there wasn't the availability of bioidentical hormones. There wasn't this information out on food sensitivities. We didn't have people like yourself speaking out and telling women, you don't have to live a miserable menopause life. That's not what's in the cards for you, because it can be different. And I think, when we looked at our mothers, grandparents, we just saw them, again, I'll go back to throwing in the towel, because that's what was told to them. That was just common belief. And now we have so many more options to feel amazing, and it might just be little things. I want to get into what 5 strategies do you tell women to bust through that weight loss plateau, and especially because a lot of them, like you said earlier, are weight loss resistant. So kind of get into that and break that down for us.
Yeah, I'd love to. As I've gone through writing and my books and working with patients and working with women online as well, is what happens when what stops working? What's the next step? Right. And so that brought me into MenuPause, which is 5 pauses in our diet. So 5 essential pauses. So in each 5 plans, there's 6-day plans. And the reason for the 6 days, Amie, you will get this, is that our gastrointestinal mucosal lining regenerates every 72 hours. So 2 72-hour cycles, it's 6 days. And in 6 days, we've got a good basis. Okay, how do I feel? How am I starting to feel? 3 days, you're kind of getting over the hump. And in 6 days, you're really like, you can, assess how you are and feel a difference. And so to see what's really working for you. So a couple things in MenuPause I did look at, menopause around the world. And I really love that, to see what societies did. But in MenuPause, I paused, a different thing for each of the 6-day plans. So first, Keto-Green Extreme plan, we paused like all inflammatory foods. So really following an autoimmune paleo type of Keto-Green combination there, taking away nightshades and focusing on that very low inflammatory diet, because it's sometimes those things are triggering something in our epigenetics that's not agreeing with us at this time, right? Doesn't mean you're going to have to be off it forever. I always say it's cross-training your gut. JJ Virgin used those words, cross-training your gut and creating more resilience, so that you don't have to be eating one type of food every day, right? And I get so heartbroken when I hear that that's what people have been reduced to. It means we've got to rebuild that mucosal lining, make it healthier and stronger and more elastic, like we do for our skin and everything else as we age. We're
Right.
doing it for the GI tract. So removing things that are irritants or creating a rub long-term can make a huge difference. So that's the first one. And the second one is going to a plant-based, is adding the beautiful plant diversity. Now, again, I'm not a big fan of plant-based long-term, but in the short term, especially in menopause, because we need so much protein. But in the short term, it's really great for microbial gut diversity. So once we reduce inflammation, give ourselves this plant-based plan, we're really creating, a stronger first line of defense with the bacteria of our gut. Now, 6 days may be a little bit short for that, but this little change up can tell you, how am I feeling? But if you have trouble digesting greens because of enzymatic deficiency, then we need to go another way. And that's the third pause, is carnivore-ish. Carnivore. So it's more pausing all the greens and just using some herbs and spices and nose to tail.
Yeah.
I actually made a fabulous, I know this might turn some people off, but I don't know. I see someone from Australia there, you might like this, but a great cardamom seared liver. It tastes amazing. My daughter ate it up when I made it. And so, these fun little recipes, but I'm telling you, nose to tail. And that's the thing. We talk about hormone disruption, even how our grandparents did it. They didn't have a fraction of the hormone disruptors in their environment that we do today. And so thinking about that. And then the fourth plan, it's really a cleanse. So, okay, now let's just rest your GI tract and just support you with like good collagen, bone broth, good, protein shakes, and really nourish you and not make, not put any additional strain on your GI tract and support you that way. We did it in my Girlfriend Doctor Club. And let me tell you, and you could see the skin changes in just 6 days. I mean, clarity, energy. The first 3 days were tough, but by day 6, you were feeling amazing. And then the fifth plan is, sometimes we've been so strict with our keto and our Keto-Green ways and fasting and intermittent fasting, all this stuff. We forget that our body, can benefit for some carbohydrate, carbing up. And I've had people carb up during this week and lose weight. It's just what their body needed. So I found that to be just incredibly fascinating. I was worried because I'm like, but I definitely say save that one for last.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's awesome because you don't want to be in a deprivation mode. I'm a foodie. I love eating. I am a gourmand, and so I really do enjoy the variety, and it's important to choose a healthy variety that works for you.
Oh my gosh, we're so much alike. So I love that you have that carnivore option in there, because when implemented correctly, and I'm going to have to get your book because I want that liver recipe. When implemented correctly, it really transforms the body. Inflammation goes down. I've heard people talk about their joint pain literally disappearing. Like you said, your skin clears up within days. And then also very similar identical in our thought is having that carb up day, because I have a program called Keto for the Week. So it's just about how to do keto the right way without tanking your thyroid. And all the opponents of keto and thyroid say, you're going to drop your T3, you're going to drop your metabolism. Well, like you said, come up out of it, have some carbs. And that break, again, like you said, you might notice weight loss at that point of time, because now you're eliminating the insulin spiking foods from your life. And now you're bringing some carbs back in for a day or two. Good. Fine. So I love that. I love that we think so much alike in that, and that your book is going to lay this out so people can actually have something to follow.
Yeah. And I think with that whole, like the deprivation mentality, and a good friend of mine actually in Northwest Florida, Dr. Angela Akey, she runs my Keto-Green 16 planning groups in her medical office. And she goes, I like my clients to take a break after that, not do another cycle, because they get food restriction fatigue. And because they're using different foods. And so I let them take a 72-hour break, and then we'll start up again. And, and kind of addressing that. And for me, like creating MenuPause, I really had to give pause and think about that. So the 6 days, also 6 days instead of 7, because if your 7th is your Sunday, maybe that's your 1 meal a day feast day. Maybe that's, what are you doing to celebrate you? And then note, how does that make you feel? Does that change anything of the way you're feeling? So, it's also that kind of break or create, to use your creative, what can I mix up for myself today? And so that's how I like Sundays to be family dinner day, and more of a I grew up with Sunday family meals. There's a big meal after church. We'd have an early dinner. And so I love that tradition whenever possible.
Now, do you personally, and do you also recommend this in your book, on that Sunday, can you eat anything, or do you still like for people to stay within the confines? Like, let's not go out and have a pizza and ice cream and 5 donuts.
Yeah, because then you might not know what you don't feel good with. So again, use it to research. So we have plenty of Sundays in our life. So if that's what you do one Sunday, you use that for information for yourself, and then you're back on protocol. I was interviewed, I think it was for people regarding one of the Kardashian doing keto, and they said, well, on Sunday she's eating this waffles or pancakes and syrup and whatever it was. And I was like, okay, that's her feast day. And like, she's having this cheat day once a week. I'm like, I don't consider it a cheat day. I consider it a feast day. She's doing well. She's getting results. It's not setting her back. How does she feel when she does it? I mean, that's the questions we have to ask ourselves. Is this setting me back? It's like the alcohol conversation earlier. Is it setting me back? Am I feeling worse the next day? Or, and that's information, and we take note of that information. Say, okay, well, that's not worth it. However, that chocolate souffle at Toulouse down the street, once in a while, it might be worth it. So you have to think, is it or isn't it? And that's for you to decide and to understand, okay, well, maybe, the follow-up to that is looking more like a 72-hour, reboot type thing. What do I need to do next? So I like that for everyone's coming in at a different portion. Like, I can't even remember the last time I had a pizza, right? But I used to love pizza. I mean, could eat a whole pizza, right? A thin crust, Italian pizza. And so like, you eventually, depending on where you're coming in, you'll learn, and is this nourishing me or not? Am I going to feel better or worse? And if you're not sure, test it if you really want to, or wait to test it on your birthday or some other day, that you're celebrating. So
yeah, no, I love that. And I even like it when people do go, let's say they go full blown, not even a gluten-free pizza. They're going all out. They're going, straight to Domino's, whatever. And they do that. And maybe they have been really clean for a while, and they indulge. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how bad I feel. I will never do that again. And it's like, well, it's good that you experienced that, because back when you were eating the standard American diet and eating all that garbage, you didn't even realize, like you said, Dr. Anna, you don't even know what's making you feel like crap. So once you add one thing in, then you can go, okay, I will never eat regular pizza again from Domino's because I feel like I'm dying. And that's a great way to tell what foods are really going to hit you hard, and what foods you should just keep out of your life entirely, except on those once in a while occasions.
Right, exactly. When you think, okay, but then that's where we get better about preparing us when we go into situations that we might want to indulge, right? So yesterday we had my daughter's baby shower here in Dallas at Park House, and it was super fun. And I knew that we're going to have all these beautiful, desserts and pastries and amazing avocado toast and all these good things. Also some ceviche and cardamom crusted tuna, which I hadn't made that recipe myself. I love cardamom on steak, on liver, and I'm going to now try it on some fish. But it's such a good alkalinizing herb, and it's really a grounding one, especially when your energy's high and you're stressed. Cardamom is amazing. And so all that to say is I had a smoothie yesterday. I made a smoothie for me and my guest, and that helped me make better choices in the party too. So I think preparing yourself, because I knew, if I went there hungry, there'd be no holding back, right? Or very little. And it's not just like willpower is physiologic. So I don't want to go there with a bottomed out blood sugar or having nothing, and to be really supported, especially when there's so much like the hostess and stressing and making sure everyone's fed and getting drinks and everything else. So I think there's those lessons we learn over time. So I've been doing this for a long time now, over a decade. So there's lessons I've learned in my own life that always kind of, keep me humble and keep me to say, okay, well, how can I prepare? Because now I know what will happen in that situation. And the same thing, thinking about that, Domino's pizza and what I was able to eat before I knew better. And especially when it came to dairy, which is one thing that's not in any of my recipes because I can't have it. And so I don't even make up recipes with it. And so it was only as an option if I think it would be good. Dairy is one of those big hormone disruptors, and it's definitely a food sensitivity to me. But my patients would come in and say, Dr. Anna, I didn't realize how bad I was feeling till I started feeling good again. That's game changing. That's what we need for that reinforcement. It's worth doing this.
Yes, definitely. I have a one patient, not a woman, so this is kind of off topic on the menopause subject, but along those same lines, it was a boy who had to stay home from school. He couldn't go to work. He was like 18, so he couldn't really do college classes. He couldn't hold a job because his brain just wasn't functioning. And we removed, of course, gluten. It seems so cliche to us because we tell people every day, and of course we're all gluten-free and autoimmune, but we removed gluten. And he said to his mom, I had no idea how broken my brain was.
Wow.
Until we removed that. And I mean, now he's fully functioning. He's back in school. He's brilliant. He has a job too. So he's college and job. But when he adds back in gluten, just like we were talking about, have that one day and see how you feel. He is on the couch. He is non-functional. It's interesting how one food like dairy, gluten, or whatever your sensitivity is, can really basically punch you in the face and take you down.
So true. So true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now in your book too, and I know a lot of the listeners are going to be wondering this, hot flashes, insomnia, anxiety, brain fog, all those things that come with menopause. Your MenuPause book goes into really how to address these from a natural food-based perspective, right?
Yeah. I think once we get the food right, it does support physiology, right? Affects behavior. So getting the food right is a huge difference. And it's always beyond that, of course, the lifestyle and the mindset. And again, the 10% attribute to bioidentical hormone replacements for sure. But using these things to really balance out your lifestyle and give you that sense of I'm in my body again. And I like my body, right? I like my mind. I like the way I think. I have my memory back. And in the Bible, it talks about the peace that surpasses all understanding. And I really love that verse because when I was in this chaotic, crazy downward spiral in my life, not that many years ago, maybe 7-8 years ago now, that until I fixed my physiology through like the power of what I'm teaching in MenuPause, through this power of food as medicine, as well as the lifestyle hacks, again, outside what, the hormones were dialed in, those weren't touched, but this food as medicine perspective made all the difference in the world. And though nothing in my external world, I was still a single mom, 3 kids, 3 different schools, elementary, middle, and high school, and crazy at that time. I closed my medical practice and all this other stuff going on. But nothing in my external environment had changed. But yet I had peace. I had a smile. I was calm. I responded instead of reacting, or more likely overreacting, that snapping at a trigger type of thing that I know that I experienced, many people experience. And if I'm not at peace, like at home, grounded physiologically, certainly in my nutrition, that definitely affects behavior. And that's empowering to know that.
Yes. Oh, I love that verse as well. And we've heard it, like you said, we've heard that over and over again, peace that surpasses understanding. But I can speak for myself. For decades, I went, what does that even mean? What do you mean peace and until it hits you, you go, oh, that's that kind of peace. And I think that goes hand in hand with the wisdom of coming into the second spring, because there is a deep womanly wisdom there. And it's like you see the world through different sets of eyes. You're not as panicky, although a little bit of progesterone helps with that, but you're not as panicky and you're not as anxious and you're not as on edge and snippy and snappy. You have a more grounded peace about you.
So true. So true. And being able to reflect on that and know that, I mean, it just makes all of this so much easier. The choices that you make for yourself become so much easier. And then as a mom, as a busy mom, working mom, and I know this, that until we're healthy and happy and grounded and have, paid enough self-care to ourselves, then everyone else around us is too. It's not the other way around. Let me address, each and every one around me, the spouse, the colleagues, the kids, all of them have to be better before me. It works the other way around. We start with us, and then from there, again, the energy of positivity, energy of hormones, the energy of balance, it's palpable. And somehow that makes a big difference. And I'd love to be able to do that in a quick switch, but living in that experience definitely empowers our children. So and often we do things because it's, especially in functional medicine. I mean, I started here because one of my children had tremendous ADHD and another child had seizure disorder. So I look at, okay, well, what can I do that will, optimize them and not, subdue them, subdue their personality, subdue their, interactions. And so I went into functional medicine way back when because of that aspect. I'd already been in bioidentical hormones, but I knew I needed more.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And again, there's the both and, right? So yes, you can do the bioidentical hormones, but you're not going to get that piece that surpasses all understanding if you're eating poorly, if you're eating the food that cause inflammation, if you don't go through the steps of elimination, like you said, and finding, can you digest greens? I don't know. You're not going to know until you don't know. You have to go through all those steps to really figure out what's going to work for you.
Yep. Yeah.
And then it all comes together.
Then it comes together. And then okay, well, what enzyme support do I need? What's the next step, right? What's the next, step after that? How do I rebuild my gut bacteria? And I think that's an important piece too, that we need to look at. And always, especially with medical conditions, working hand in hand with our provider, practitioner, physician, whoever it may be, that we trust and we feel better as a result of working with them. That makes a difference.
Big time. Big time. And then you actually, and I've tried it. So you actually have a Keto-Green drink that you incorporate into this MenuPause book and into your protocols. Can you tell a little bit more about that? Because we'll put the link for that as well. But I've tried it. I like it. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, definitely my Keto-Green protein meal replacement mix. And it has one scoop is 14 grams of protein. So typically it's great as a good medium, or use 2 packets or 2 scoops. And so it has 3 grams of fat and has greens and all your albion micronutrients, chelated minerals in the face of 0 grams of sugar. 0 grams of sugar. And that's really key. And plus it's plant and nut seed protein based. So for my vegans out there that need extra protein because you're not getting enough, this was really important that I made it this way. And I love collagen peptides and other protein sources, but my Keto-Green shake is designed for that. Easy absorption, amazing nutrition, all the bioavailable nutrients, and plus supportive antioxidants for liver and metabolism that help you, that really feel satisfied. I mean, that's what I drank before I went to the party yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. And I find that women are so low in protein. I'm sure you saw that in your patient population as well, or even women that you talked to today. They're not getting in enough protein. And then they complain about loss of muscle mass, low metabolism, can't lose weight, my hair's falling out. Well, all of that is reliant upon protein.
It's so true. And that's a hard thing for me too, to get enough of, right? Like it has to be conscientious. You really have to think, okay, I need to make sure I get enough protein today. And I think that's just a powerful thing for us to be realizing. Am I getting enough protein? Have I got enough fat? What's going on? Am I hungry? Am I having cravings? That tells you something about your body. Am I not feeling like going to the gym? I mean, what's going on? And so that's where really that empowerment piece comes in.
I love that. And I love that you incorporate all of that in your book. So, Dr. Anna, thank you so much for coming on. I know your book isn't released until April, correct? Can people pre-order now, or we're going to have the links in the show notes too?
Yeah, definitely use the pre-order link. So I'm hoping my publisher will go to another printing before we even get released. So we have, it's coming out April 12th, and we'll be doing some fun challenges once it comes out. And we have great book bonuses. So wherever you buy the book from, it's called MenuPause. It's already #1 in menopause on Amazon. So I'm great. I know. It's like, woohoo, thank God. I was so excited when I saw that. And so, so really excited. We've got great book bonuses, and they can go to my site, to my MenuPause book page, and put in their receipt number and get those extra bonuses. And you'll have the link for that.
Nice. Very nice. Now we'll put all that so everybody can access it. Thank you for your knowledge, for your time, your expertise. I'm so happy this book is coming out because it's so very much needed. So yeah, I just thank you. Is there anything else you want to leave the listeners with?
Oh, just thank you, Amie. Thanks for having me on. I mean, I love your platform. I love what you're saying and the emphasis and the way you say, there's no excuses. This is what you have to do to feel better. Right. And I think this is the exploration that you have to do to feel better, no matter what stage of life you're in. And I want to just empower our audience with that knowledge. Like, it's, we've got a long life ahead of us. Let's see what will make it even better. What will make it even better? Let's figure this out together. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, 100%. And thank you again for your time. So now that you've heard all about the hormone fixer, I'm going to give you a challenge. If you actually listened to this podcast all the way to the end and you're still listening, you can use the code ThyroidFix10, 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 and get 10% off my store. This is only for people that listened all the way to the end. I want to know what you think about my products. Make sure you let me know. Love y'all.